Welcome to Destination Linux, the Nevermore Academy of open source intrigue, where every commit is a raven's call echoing through the halls of tech terror. Straight out of Wednesday. I'm your Gomez Adams this week, Ryan Tangoing. People know me for my tangoing ability for sure.
Sure.
Through the Linux shadows with my macabre crew ready to stab proprietary plots with a silver dagger of code. Jill is our Enid Sinclair vibrant werewolf. Wow, that's scary, man. Tell you what, this is a Halloween episode. Really spooky. Werewolf with the vintage PC den, clawing through UX designs faster than she can howl at a full moon kernel update. Wendy is our Wednesday. That's kind of like a tongue twister. Wendy Wednesday Adams. Brooding tech enthusiast investigator snapping spectral photos of Linux glitches with crossbow sharp focus and a stare that freezes a firewall. I've gotten that stare before.
So have my kids. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Her mantra, code darkly or perish in the light. Sounds like Sinister Wendy. This week's spell, we're summoning Canonical's Ubuntu 25.10, Questing Quokka, a quirky release with enhanced GNOME flair. Exercising Raspberry Pi's OS Trixie, the Debian-fueled Phantom packing upgrade, and unraveling Fedora's AI policy drama, where open source oaths clash with a hides rampage. Drama. Imagine that in open source. Drama. That never happens. So light the black candles, sync your repos, and remember, in open source, we don't just embrace the weird, we code it eternal. Thing would approve. Let's uncover the gloom. This is Destination Linux. So this week in our community feedback, we received feedback from John who says, great to see Nate and Wendy join you guys. Ryan and Jill, great as always. I love seeing Wendy on the show and thoroughly enjoyed Destination Out Loud. Hey, rename our show, John.
That was fun.
I like it. Let's keep it.
Yeah, it was fun. I do follow both podcasts, as you should. That's the way to do it. I wish Michael a quick recovery and look forward to his return. Wendy, I personally would like to see a video on your model of Synology router and all the particulars about it. There you go.
Definitely.
John's
I will definitely get
homework.
on that. Yes. Well, the thing is I volunteered to do that, and I've been in talks with Bill on upgrading my router. So this is still a solid router. You can buy it. It's the RC.
It's the RC.
RT 2600. So that's currently what
the Atari 2600. You use that as a router. Nice.
yeah, absolutely. No. But it talks about doing some upgrades hardware-wise that way too. But I would love to do something with this one, and then when I upgrade, do a refresh on how I've changed that up. So
yeah. You do have a really cool setup with the dual internets going, your backup internet and things. So I think people would really find that interesting. And if you don't know, Wendy lives like in the most rural part of the planet. Nobody can even get to her unless you have a plane.
Not true. I'm not in Alaska, but
it's pretty close.
Still very rural. I live in an area with lots of past volcanic activity, and so most of the ground around is lava rock. So most places, unless you live in town, you're not getting fiber, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
we used to have to communicate with Wendy with a tin can and some string, and now she's got Starlink. So
to be fair, just about, because I remember when I first started recording with you guys, like it was really choppy. And at one point, Michael's like, we'd love to have you on the show for a segment. Could you just pre-record something and send it to me? And I was like, yeah, totally. I get it.
But I do find it interesting that Sinister Wendy lives in a volcano. Like, you know what I mean?
A volcano. Like, if I lived in Yellowstone, then I would live in a volcano.
Right.
Yeah.
I live
near
one of its old
activity.
calderas. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess
where evil lava and destruction loom. That's where you choose to
live in
the Wednesday,
basaltic rock.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes, a lot too.
So John goes on to say, I think that people in government trying to tell us what we can or cannot see is ludicrous. I agree, John. They always shame people who don't think the same way you do. Everyone is entitled to their beliefs or to be themselves, but people need to respect each other and agree to disagree. Ryan, long live Arch Linux. Amen. Even though I personally use Catchy OS, I'm so tired of a small group of people trying to control everyone's habits or whatnot. Heard that there are those in our U.S. government are working on telling us what we can eat as well as what we can watch or look at. Live and let live. Thanks, guys, for the great episode, and I will miss you next week. Well, we're back now. You don't have to miss us no more.
Yeah.
We are here for you. I agree. Look, there's so much going on. This show purposefully, and even in our community, and thank you to everyone in our community for continuing to hold this line because it's not easy out there.
Yeah.
Try to stay away from politics because it's ugly and people are nasty on both sides, all sides, and it's tiring. And we want one place, just one little place where you can go and you don't have to ask about or talk about any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That would be nice.
Mhm.
Politics does sneak its way in, to certain things going on with certain distros or other stuff. And we'll try to cover it lightly, but just not give opinions one way or the other and just kind of move forward. And thankfully, I'm so thankful because I see communities being ruined by this all over the place, that our community somehow has managed to kind of keep this stuff out of the Discord chats and the conversations. And I thank you all incredibly for that, because I want to just go to a place where I don't have to see some stupid political opinion on whatever it is. Like I just want one place. That's it.
Yeah.
Just one. And let's
'Cause
leave
we
it elsewhere.
Because we can't avoid it on social media, and it's just
It's and it's all just it's all noise and propaganda. Anyways, my point is, thank you guys for doing that. And also that, yes, there's a lot of this stuff going on. There's a lot of governments trying to tell people what to do, how to act, how to eat, who to be. And I think all that's wrong. I don't think the government has any place in that type of stuff. And that's the best I can do with those conversations is just say live and let live. I 100% agree with that. Also something I really love about our community is many of you mentioned Missing Michael, have reached out. And despite all the financial issues and challenges going on in the world, on top of all the other nutty stuff, no wonder you live near a volcano, Wendy. Like now I'm kind of seeing the joy of maybe I need to live in a volcano too. All the financial pressures and everything going on in the world. People were still reaching out, multiple people, and asking me, how can I donate to Michael's medical bills? Like that's how our community thinks. Even guests we had on the show reached out and asked, hey, can I donate? And at this point, just so you know, don't need that. If Michael says he does, then I'll certainly put that out there for everybody. But I think he's fine. He's recovering. But the fact that you are willing to do that in this environment means the world to us. So thank you from the whole TuxDigital family, Linux Out Loud, Destination Linux, Pseudo Show, all of it for all of your support and things, and for holding the line and making one place left on the planet a little bit more peaceful. That place happens to be in a volcano, but it's our little place. So that's it. That's what we got.
We might be hanging out in the graveyard, but it's all positive.
But we're here. We're here. We're like the goth kids. Everybody wants to avoid them when we walk down the hallway, but we're there. We look cool.
And I'm hanging out at Disneyland, so.
Jill, that's the opposite of where we're at. You're not supposed. We can't be in a volcano and you be in Disneyland. That's not fair.
Actually, that would be fitting for her. You and I are hanging out in the volcano and she's off at Disneyland.
She's off at Disney. Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you for writing in. And like I said, appreciate all of the kind words and, the sentiment there. If you want to send in your comments, go to destinationlinux.net/comments or destinationlinux.net/forum. We'd love to hear from you and get your thoughts and ideas. And let us know if you live in a volcano as well, or if you choose to live in Disneyland with Jill. So your choice. They're both amazing places. Absolutely amazing. So as Linux users, we know what's up. Security is non-negotiable, but with threats getting smarter, your security tools need to keep pace without dragging your system down. Traditional agents, they can slow you down and leave blind spots, and it's time for a smarter approach. That's why Destination Linux is proud to be sponsored by Sandfly Security, revolutionary agentless platform for Linux. Go to destinationlinux.net/Sandfly and see how Sandfly can transform your security strategy. Also have a business free trial going on right now, so you definitely need to go to destinationlinux.net/Sandfly if you're a business and you want to check out this protection. If you haven't been reading the news and all the craziness going on with security, I mean, oh my gosh, it's been crazy lately, the amount of exploits and issues and advanced, governments can't get along, they're all attacking each other, and those exploits get out, and now people are editing that with AI and using it against it. It's crazy out there, but you need Sandfly for the protection for sure. Timothy Lisko of DigitalOcean, another one of our former sponsors. Sandfly is one of the most exciting pieces of security tech I've seen recently. We're excited not only to be a customer, but also offer an integrated solution to our customers through DigitalOcean's marketplace. This technology addresses Linux security in a really novel and compelling way. Sandfly just doesn't detect and respond. It completely revolutionizes with SSH key tracking, password auditing, drift detection, covers threats from every single agent, whether your systems are in the cloud, on-premise, in embedded devices, a hybrid of all three. Sandfly ensures they're all secure without the headaches of agent-based solutions. Experience security, it's not just effective, but gives you peace of mind. No agents, no downtime, just cutting-edge protection.
And the home edition of Sandfly Security is now available. And an awesome thing for all our listeners of Destination Linux, they have an incredible offer for you of 50% off if you use the discount code Destination50, or in all caps, DESTINATION50. Dive into the future of Linux security at destinationlinux.net/Sandfly. That's destinationlinux.net/SANDFLY, and see how Sandfly can transform your security strategy.
You can tell that Jill is a professor because she spells out everything as she would need to do for students to make sure they know how to spell all the stuff, and I love it. I wanted to have some fun this week. So I saw on social media, speaking of the devil, I saw on social media a bunch of posts of Microsoft saying, hey, we got a big announcement coming for Windows, and it's coming this week. Now, by the time this show airs, whatever they're coming up with will already be out. But I thought it would be fun on this show if maybe we could try to guess what the Windows big announcement is going to be. And so
I think we already know.
Well, what do you think it's going to be, Jill? I mean, it could be anything.
They deprecated Windows 10 yesterday.
Well, that's not the big announcement. You think? No, it's big for us Linux users.
Yeah, it's definitely big for us Linux users.
Yeah. I don't think that's their big change to Windows, but I mean, it is a change. Fair,
it is a change.
It is a fair change. I think they received so much feedback on Recall. Recall is that program that takes screenshots every few seconds. And, they got a lot of flack initially and originally pulled it back because people were like, hey, our privacy. And then they waited till everyone calmed down and released it anyways. So I think they're doubling down on a new Recall, and it's going to be called Recall Streaming. It streams your desktop to an unencrypted OneDrive instance so you or the hackers don't miss any of the in between the seconds that the original Recall had. I love this idea. I think it's brilliant.
Do you really? It kind of sounds like that's your your sarcastic voice. You love this idea.
A little bit. Yeah. So that's my bet on what I think the new Windows announcement could be. Recall Streaming.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I'm going to raise you one here. My guess is that they just want everyone to have all of the little additional settings. So they're going to make it harder to turn off those different privacy settings, right? To say, no, I don't want the opt-out stuff. So instead of being able to, which they didn't make it super easy in the first place, you still had to dig for it, but now they're going to make it even harder by hiding it behind Minesweeper. So if you know how to play the game, you're good. If you don't, you might be in trouble.
So you're telling me they're going to take all the privacy settings that you have to opt out of, and they're going to hide it behind a Minesweeper game, and each toggle you have to win the game to be able to talk. This is a great idea. I could see Windows doing that for sure. That's brilliant.
It's super good for Linux.
Did you ever beat Minesweeper?
Me?
Have you ever played it? Yeah.
Yeah,
I've never played it.
Yeah. I beat it on accident, not because I
Oh,
knew
you
any
did?
strategy.
Oh,
It was
okay.
just like luck, but because I played it I worked in a computer shop. So like it
Yeah.
was constantly one of those things when you had downtime, you would just click around on. But I had no strategy to it. To this day, I could not tell you how you're supposed to play that game. I remember there was like little borders of numbers, and then if you click the wrong
the
thing,
number
it
tells
explode.
you how many mines are around and touching that particular piece.
Where were you when I was 13? You know? Jeez.
So yes, I have won. I've never beat it. I haven't like multiple levels, but yes, I've won like games in it.
Yeah,
but
that's
once
what I
you
mean
learn
too.
the
I never
strategy
beat
of it, it's really not that hard. Though most people aren't gonna have to go through that to change privacy settings.
Yeah. Well, you better start practicing. If you have a Windows machine, you're going to need it to turn off your privacy options, according to Wendy. So I like that. Jill, do you have any other predictions for Windows 10?
For Windows 10?
Oh,
for
sorry,
the future
Windows 11.
of Windows?
Yeah, the future Windows. My bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one.
We had talked about this years ago on Destination Linux of Windows 11 definitely changing to a Linux core, and everything would be streamed in the cloud, the whole OS. So that I know is coming. Because
they've
they keep
even had like
hinting
those
at
streaming style boxes that they've had out on the market for a little while. Yeah,
true.
It's coming, but it's probably not going to be this year. But anyways, that's for the future.
I think that's an interesting prediction, really. Like, I think they definitely OneDrive integration is so unbelievably aggressive in Windows installations now. And basically, they don't want you saving anything to your local drive. They want everything defaults goes to your OneDrive connection. So they're just very aggressive with it. And I think that's all part of their cloud strategy, right? They would love the idea that you don't even own your computer anymore. You just rent space up in a server, and that's how you use your computer. And frankly, with the way everything is going to subscriptions and somehow people not fighting back, I mean, non-Linux people not fighting back against this, I mean, it very well could be successful for them, frankly, because it's just people seem to have endless money for subscriptions. I don't know how they do it because I don't know how to afford all these subscriptions myself. I'm like, every single service, every piece of software, now your cars and everything else wants subscriptions. Everybody wants these monthly fees and has been, and the consumers just keep eating it up. Like people are like, I just bought this car and I have to pay for unlock features and I have to pay to unlock horsepower in my car, extra horsepower and all this stuff. I'm like, I would never bought the car to begin with, but people just go through with it.
The two vehicles that I drive on a regular basis, both of them are 2000s. They don't have that.
Yeah, none of that. Yep. And should there be a apocalyptic, nuclear bomb set off or something, your cars, you won't maybe survive, but your cars at least will turn on, or you just, you don't have all the electronics to worry about being fried. So there you go.
So,
Thinking ahead in your volcano.
What's your other fun prediction?
Well, I think Microsoft's probably pretty annoyed that so many people are choosing Vivaldi or Brave or other alternative browsers out there and not using Edge. So they're going to announce the new Microsoft Protect the Children legislation. And what this will do is, of course, force a full screen version of Edge each time you try to launch or install another browser. And in order to get past to install that browser, you need to upload your driver's license to a Microsoft server to prove you're old enough to download another browser, because this is what will keep the kids safe. And who doesn't want to keep the kids safe? So I think that's a brilliant idea for Microsoft. Probably going to happen. Yeah. And Microsoft keeps the children safe, update.
Yeah.
So those are some of our great ideas for what Microsoft might be announcing. Hopefully we got one of them right. We'll know next week whether we got one of them right.
Yeah.
If you have some ideas you'd like to send Microsoft to help them out for their ideation, I feel like they should pay us for all these ideas. Send them to destinationlinux.net/comment or destinationlinux.net/forum. We may read them on the show. And Microsoft, who knows? They have a bug bounty program. Maybe they'll give you an innovation prize or something.
We might have part of the community that says, stop giving them these ideas.
These great ideas. I think they already have them on a whiteboard, right? And they just throw a dart at it. I did see in their announcement, though, it said something like, you won't have to use your hands. So it must be some type of AI speaking thing or something.
Yeah.
Maybe
Another Cortana invention.
Maybe a better one. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's been years since I actually have even messed with Cortana, so I don't know what the state of it is at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it's my favorite name for AI.
It
Cortana,
is. Yeah.
Because it's Halo, and Cortana and Halo is dope. And that was before Microsoft bought the studio. And
wait, I thought Clippy was your favorite.
Who?
Clippy.
Clip. Oh, you're right. Dang it. Sorry, Clippy. Clippy's going to be jealous now.
That's the original AI.
That's true.
On Microsoft.
Cortana's a little prettier, but yeah, you're right. There's Clippy out there.
Good but actually, before Clippy, we had Microsoft Bob.
Wow. Yeah, man. What a stupid name. Oh, boy. Microsoft. All right. Moving on to a company a little more interesting, Canonical. So this week, they released 25.10 Questing Quokka on October 9th, actually, as an interim release. And as usual, lots of drama created by certain news sites due to a bug where Flatpaks weren't initially working when they released it. So one of these sites, which I gave a beating to on social media and got lots of support of people also yelling at them for clickbaiting, basically said, basically made it sound like Ubuntu doesn't support Flatpaks anymore with their latest version. So they never miss an opportunity, even though they're technically a Linux news article site, to find a way to kind of put Linux down, which is very frustrating. Like, why you don't need to do the clickbaity headlines of like Ubuntu disables Flatpaks for everyone. No, it was a bug. It was even marked as critical. It's been fixed. Flatpaks still work in Ubuntu. Do we really need more drama?
No.
Really? Okay. Oh, apparently we do. We'll get there. But, that's a different topic.
So much. There's so much to go around. Man. Do you think this is the reason why people want so much drama constantly is because we grew up with soap operas? Is it possible that this is the soap opera generation that has caused this?
I don't necessarily know that that's the case because, like, I never sat down and watched them, though I'm not typically a big drama person anyway. But some people never leave high school, and so they just have to bring drama back into their lives, and I think that's those people. Yeah.
Well, they're also writing articles for news sites, apparently. Got some cool updates in the new Ubuntu. We've got, of course, GNOME 49 with media and power controls on the lock screen, improved accessibility, and HDR brightness settings. HDR is improved again, and HDR is already, I think, better in Linux than it is in any other operating system out there, the support for it. So that's very, very cool because we didn't have it for a minute.
Yeah.
New default applications like Tyxix?
Yeah, I was saying Tyxix.
Whatever that is, it's a terminal emulator.
Silent, but I'm not sure.
Could be.
Tyx.
I'll have it spelled out here.
Day.
So whatever you want to call it,
whatever. Yeah. It's a terminal emulator. I haven't played with it, but apparently it must be a good one because it's a default one. And Lupe image viewer, and then the installed restricted extras option enables support for Bluetooth codecs and hardware accelerated screen recording in GNOME. All that good stuff. Lots of accessibility additions, which is very, very important for Linux that we not only have these, but I think we should be setting the bar in open source for accessibility, not be behind in this place. So we've seen a lot in the last, thanks to our community, I think, bringing a lot of attention to this. We've seen a lot of changes in a lot of distros since we started talking about this and people started writing us about this topic. So very, very cool to see that.
And on the accessibility side, I would really like to see more speech to text stuff brought to it. And not just text to speech, but speech to text would be awesome to be added to it too.
What are some of the things you saw on this that you liked, Jill?
So I really like that they put the shortcut for HDR in the little toggle up in the right hand side. I was really happy with that. You could easily toggle it and on and off, and
so they put that up in the taskbar. section?
Yeah, in the taskbar section.
So they won't tell me what apps are running in my taskbar, no, but they'll put an HDR button there.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, GNOME. Jeez. I mean, I like it. I like the HDR thing. Just add your application launch. I know they technically have it. If you click down in the menu now, you can see what's running. If the application actually uses their version of the notification tray thing, whatever.
So now you can click it and then adjust also the screen brightness. And that's what I was most appreciative of, because all my more recent monitors are HDR, and I have several monitors hooked up to different computers. So that is really cool. The other thing I actually noticed is it looks crisper, because they worked really hard on making the fractional scaling look a lot nicer, especially like me, if you're running big fonts. They look a lot cleaner now. So
that's nice.
Is definitely. And the accessibility features being up front and in the welcome menu. That's awesome.
Yes, most definitely.
They made that prominent. And we had talked about that on Destination Linux a while back ago. And it's very similar to what System 76 is doing with Cosmic. So that's really good to see. And so those are, it was funny because there's just lots of quality of life improvements in the default GNOME 49.
Which I think is a really good, enhancement. Sometimes you don't need a complete overhaul. There's a lot of things behind the scenes, security wise, a lot of RISC-V, support improvements in there as well, which I think is awesome. On the security side, they're experimenting with TPM, full disk encryption support, experimental, of course, right now. Recovery key management, better firmware update integration, all of these things that I think make Ubuntu special. And then, Jill, we talked about the NVIDIA stuff as well, which is a major enhancement that's going into this. Is it going into this one specifically? I think some of the back-end pieces of the NVIDIA stuff is here, at least beginning to.
It's there. It's they're working on that, definitely. And the fact that this version of Ubuntu ships with Linux kernel 6.17. That is wonderful. Getting the latest and greatest Linux kernel in Ubuntu is awesome. And for those of us like me right now on my broadcasting and podcasting rig, I'm using Ubuntu 24.04 LTS. And the Linux kernel 6.17 will release in early 2026 for the LTS version in the hardware enablement update. So it's coming soon also to the long-term support version, which I'm loving this new cadence that Canonical is doing with Ubuntu. It's we've been needing this for years.
I got a lot of crap about my whining, because I whined a lot about this, about Ubuntu needing to be on the latest kernels, because they were constantly shipping with, one or two or more releases behind. And it's funny now that that they're doing it and it's been successful. Everyone's applauding it now, but nobody was applauding it when I was asking for it. They're telling me, no, it's not going to be stable then, but it won't be stable. And I think it's been really, I agree with you, Jill. It's been really good for them. And it's been really good for Linux, because a lot of people, not only who are, been in Linux forever, use Ubuntu, but a lot of new people go to Ubuntu as their first distro. And if they're installing this and their hardware is not supported, they're going to give up really quick, and they're just going to go back to Windows, because there's already a learning curve that's being smaller, but there's still a learning curve when going to Linux and stuff. So having that hardware enablement is super important. So having the latest kernels where your hardware, enablement happens in a lot of cases is super important as well. So I applaud Ubuntu for the release. And I think there's a lot of cool stuff in here, but you're right. There's nothing like earth-shattering, but a lot of quality of life improvements.
A lot of quality of life.
I'll take it.
Absolutely. And this version of Ubuntu Linux 25.10 Questing Quokka is actually a short-term release, which will be supported with updates until July 2026. And you can download the ISO now. But something I found, Ryan and Wendy, make sure to have at least an 8 gigabyte flash drive handy, though, because Ubuntu 25.10 comes in at a hefty 5.8 gigabytes.
Ooh,
Wow.
yeah,
That's
they're
a
getting
big-
a bit.
is it really that
large.
big?
Yeah, it's really that
Yikes.
big. and usually I used 8 or 16 gig flash drives, but I had picked up a 4 gigabyte one. And I'm like, oh, nope, not big enough.
Yeah, that won't work this time. Yeah, it definitely won't work
Yeah.
this time. Which is a little bit surprising that it's getting so large in some ways. Because now my current internet setup can handle file sizes that large for downloads.
Oh,
but
yeah.
other
yeah.
people, that could be quite like a half-day experience just trying to get it downloaded. So
Yeah, definitely.
Ubuntu might need a little bit of a diet on that 5.8 gigabytes. I'm feeling like
it's a lot. Yeah, it's
yeah,
big.
It's like downloading a game.
Yeah. Maybe we need to send some Ozempic over there to Ubuntu.
Well, I'm trying to remember like the last version of Manjaro that I downloaded. Like, what was the size of that? And I think I still have it on here because I have a separate drive that I use as my home drive. So I don't change things often, but when I do, I want less work.
Yeah.
So last version of Fedora Workstation that I have is only 2.3 that I can see. Garudav's
sure you
4.6.
didn't just accidentally download it twice, Jill?
Nope.
It's really not a lot. Like for most, like
right,
for
so
me,
you
I
were still needing a larger one before because I've got a Ubuntu 2410 that was 4.4 gigs.
Yeah,
so
they were
you
usually
still,
around 4.
Still needing something on the larger
their LTS
side.
is 5.9 gigs. It says on their own site.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I installed it on an old Dell machine, and it's running beautifully, and GNOME was running just fine. But of course, within like 20 minutes, I installed Window Maker and AfterStep and
back to your usual
Flexbox.
setup. Yes.
Yeah.
Went
to my usual, but I always like to test out the GNOME because GNOME is great for gaming on as well too. It's very good for that.
I wonder how many gigs Windows 11 is.
I don't know, but I am curious.
Because 5.8 is still smaller.
Windows 11 ISO file is approximately 5.1 gigabytes in size, according to DuckDuckGo AI.
Really?
However, the installation requires around 20 to 30 gigabytes of storage space on your device. So I guess it just expands into, it's like a Borg where it just keeps like taking over portions of your system as they turn on recall and all the other garbage. But 5.1 gigabytes. So Ubuntu, you're a little chunky. You're a little chunky monkey.
Yeah. I was surprised.
I don't know. I think they could probably do some trimming on there. Maybe they're trying to include too much in that ISO right off the bat. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter, but
maybe so. And it may be some of the sizes of the extra stuff that you can install afterwards. If you're like, hey, I want the things that don't come on, I want those extras. That could be eating up some of the size of it. I'm not entirely sure. Because looking at the 2410 stuff, Office related stuff. Looking at the 2410 stuff, it was all like right around 4.2, 4.4, somewhere in there. So,
I think a lot of it honestly may have to do, and a developer out there can let me know, Wayland, because Wayland is much heavier than X.
Yeah. Wayland, interesting. That could be.
Yeah.
Maybe some of this stuff's getting a little too big there. We need to probably start a TV show, My 6 Gigabyte Life.
Yeah.
So speaking of lighter, smaller, and funner, maybe even, let's talk, Jill, about the Raspberry Pi.
Will do. So there is a new version of Raspberry Pi OS, Trixie, which is based on the new Debian 13 Trixie that was released in August. I love that distro too. That latest version of Debian was awesome, and it's still awesome. And there are some major changes and updates to the Raspberry Pi OS as a result of that. There is a completely new desktop theme, including new icons and a new selection of desktop wallpapers. Also, the system font is now Canonical. Nunito Sans Light, which replaces the decade-old Pi font. And that's a major change. And there is this is the biggest, most exciting thing about Raspberry Pi OS Trixie, and one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about it. There is a new singular control center application now, which replaces all previous separate preferences tools like Raspberry Pi configuration, appearance settings, display screen settings, the keyboard settings, etc. are in one application now, making
Finally.
them more organized and easier to
gosh.
find like other modern desktop Linux environments.
Yeah.
I know Plasma can be a little hard sometimes to find which settings you want to change, but it's so much worse if you have to jump between different applications. So this is awesome.
Absolutely. And that was always one of my little annoyances with Raspberry Pi OS, but I figured they'd get around to it someday and revamp that.
Yeah.
Another big deal about the Control Center application is it's now designed to be modular via plugins, which allows third parties to easily extend its functionality with new settings pages. And that's a big deal.
Ooh,
Also, Raspberry Pi OS has a new hierarchical system of meta packages like RPD-Wayland-Core, RPD-Theme, and RPD-Applications. This makes it a lot easier to create custom images and convert a command line only light image into a full desktop image. And I could have used this in the past. This is a really nice invention for some of the Raspberry Pi projects that I've done. And but as usual, the recommended way to upgrade is to flash a clean copy of the Trixie image, because upgrading from the previous bookworm image is not officially supported and probably will break.
That means that's exactly how I'm going to try it. Because
Of course you will. Of course you will. You can't pull a bill, and I think he said, his current version of Fedora, like it started out with, did he say 35? Something like that. I think he's been upgrading since 35. On the 16,
He was doing a big jump.
He's doing a big
pathways.
Yeah, definitely.
We don't have that for Raspberry Pi right now. You got to do it the old-fashioned way.
No way. I'm going to try to upgrade. I'm going to hack it somehow. Some way.
So thankfully, that's not your production machine. So we don't have to worry about it messing up a show. So have at it. Have fun. Tell us all about it.
I like to break things and then fix it. And then everyone's like, wow, he's a miracle worker. I'm like, I broke it in the first place, but you don't have to know that, you know?
Yeah.
I broke it,
the
could
3D
get it to
printer
work,
doesn't
so then
work.
I just flashed a clean copy. I mean.
Yeah.
There we go. So, speaking of flashing a copy, you can also flash a new Raspberry Pi OS Trixie via a network cable on your Raspberry Pi 5, 500, or 500 Plus, which utilizes the Raspberry Pi imager embedded in the bootloader. And I don't have a Raspberry Pi 500 Plus yet, but I do have a Raspberry Pi 400, the original one that came out in November of 2020 when I started Destination Linux.
Nice. That's awesome.
And I still have that here, and this is what I did my upgrade to of Raspberry.
So what
Pi
Jill
Trixie
is holding up is essentially what looks like a full-size keyboard. Maybe even a smaller version of a full-size keyboard. Yeah.
No.
Because it's missing the number pad, right?
Yeah, it's like 75%.
Okay. So Jill's, man, I tell you what, having Jill and Wendy on here, boy, you're going to get corrected fast. All right. It's a 75% keyboard. All right. Picture a full-size keyboard without a numpad. And see, I have to be right. So I'm still going to throw a full-size keyboard in there without a numpad. And it's a whole computer, though. So from there, you would plug in your monitor, your mouse, and you're good to go. You've got your keyboard, of course, because inside of that keyboard is all of your components for your computer. And that's what makes this such a really cool option for kids, for adults, for everybody, because it's just a really neat little computer that you can bring around. And they make a mouse that, of course, goes perfectly with the aesthetic of it, the nice Raspberry Pi kind of red Is it red? You mean
Yes,
girls? Go ahead and correct me.
it's
Okay.
raspberry. Reddish
It's
pink.
raspberry. And then they also, which I didn't know until this show, make a Raspberry Pi monitor. I had no clue they make a Raspberry Pi monitor, which is super dope. It looks awesome. I want to get a hold of that.
Yeah, it's got little speakers on it too.
Because the Raspberry Pi Foundation was nice enough to send us some Raspberry
Pi
Pis.
5s.
Yeah, and they sent us the keyboards and stuff with them.
Yes.
We also were able to give one to one of our young listeners who has done incredible things with it. So thank you to the Raspberry Pi Foundation for all the work you do in education and a lot of the free stuff. These foundational things that they do for education wise, the things they release, the programs to teach kids how to program, all of this stuff, including
community. It's amazing.
Yeah, they do so much for the community, hold so many events, and they have this new bookshelf application. Well, it's not new; it came out during COVID, but it's the bookshelf application. And in this, they have ability, the Raspberry Pi magazine they have in here. So if you have the bookshelf application, they have a subscription to this magazine. It's really well done. It usually has projects and things you can do with your Raspberry Pi, code snippets, all these cool things. You can get a subscription to that. Or because it's Raspberry Pi, if you wait a few months, they're going to give it to you free anyway. So even if you don't have the money to do a subscription, you may not get it the day it releases. If you have the subscription, you can, which of course I want to support everything Raspberry Pi does. So, yes, that's one additional monthly fee I'll add. But I love that they still allow people to have that magazine, even if you can't afford it.
I know.
That's the kind of thing we need to get back to with companies where, it's okay to make money. There's nothing wrong with making money. But let's give back, and make people better for some of this stuff. And then the people who have they're still giving you the thing, even if you don't have the money. I just love that about them. That's the kind of thing why when these other single board computers come out and they're more powerful and they have more RAM and they have more of this, the thing I keep thinking is you're still going to have an uphill battle, because what Raspberry Pi has done through their foundation is they've created a community and they've created training and they've created loyal following because of that. And I can go get this other board and it may be on technically more powerful, but I don't have all of the instructions and manuals and guides and community project spotlights and everything else that they've built. And that's what you would need to try to compete with the likes of Raspberry Pi. That's my speech. I'll get done off my soapbox.
Absolutely. No problem, Ryan. It's because it's also so true. And thanks again to the Raspberry Pi Foundation. That was so awesome that we got Raspberry Pi 5s before they came out. We got to test them for our show. That was really cool. And
very awesome.
But I did want to mention that the 500, this is the Raspberry Pi 400. Well, the 500 Plus just came out, and it uses a mechanical keyboard with blue switches. It's got 16 gigabytes of RAM. It's got access to an NVMe slot on the bottom. So they've added a lot of new features, and it averages around 200. I know at Micro Center you can get it for like $179. But the other official Raspberry Pi distributors sell it at 200.
Right around 200. Yeah. And if you like Rainbow Vomit, it's there on this keyboard. So
RGB. Let me translate for Wendy. That's RGB, everyone. RGB light.
No, it's Rainbow Vomit.
And you know what? I just realized I forgot to turn my lights on.
There you go. Well, it's fine. Now the happiness begins. Now the rainbows and sunshines begin. Jill was trying to role play she was in a volcano at Wendy's house. So now,
there we go.
Now we're back in Disney. All right. Well, Jill, I sure hope you do get one of the 500 plus. It would be really nice if the foundation sent one, because if you don't know, Jill has basically no computers. So she's got that one computer in front of her and just like 700-800 others, and she really could use a 500 plus to help round out the collection. Yeah. All right. Awesome, Jill. Thank you for bringing that to us. I love everything Raspberry Pi. So anytime they're in the news, I'm happy. Wendy, you're bringing us a little of is it controversy? Sinister Wendy and controversy?
Yeah, Sinister Wendy controversy.
I've got some more drama. Some more drama
Yeah.
for you. I know I said
Live
I
from the
don't like
volcano.
drama, but I am bringing you the tea. So,
All right.
Here
Let's
you
get some
go.
tea going.
yes. Fedora has put out an AI policy, and this isn't one, it hasn't been accepted yet. It's been put out to the community that says, hey, this is what we're looking at, putting out some fillers. And they originally had started out with a form, like, a poll. How does everybody feel about this? And some are saying, hey, it looks promising, but when other people have taken that data and looked it over, it looks like, well, really, there's a lot of the community saying no. And so I think it's kind of good to touch on this policy and see what is going on. So there'll definitely be a link in the show notes. And I guarantee you, I've got it up on the screen if you're watching the video version. If you're not, if you haven't seen the video version, go check it out. There's so many more layers and stuff that I can throw on top of this as visuals for some of the things that we're talking about.
So just to be very clear,
Yeah.
Fedora goes out and puts a proposal out there. Now, there have been many times where they'll put a proposal out there and people beat them to death over a proposal.
Yep.
So for the purposes, not that any of our audience needs this, but in case some other audiences accidentally fall into our show, a proposal means it's not necessarily going to happen. They're opening a community for feedback. And this is what we want open source projects to do.
Yes, and they do this, like you said, they do this on a pretty regular basis. And there's times that they put out a proposal, they listen to the community, and the community's like, no, we don't like this. This isn't a good idea. Heck, before they switched to just Wayland, this was released to the community. They talked about it inside of Fedora before it became a thing. So this isn't official at this point. It's just a policy on AI that they have released. So there will be some additional feedback period, some voting going on, so that this isn't set in stone. It could still change. So number one thing that they have put out is, and I quote, "You are responsible for your contributions. AI generated content must be treated as a suggestion, not as a final code or text." So they're upfront with the fact that if you are using AI to help you with coding, which there are times, especially when I first got into Python, that I beat my head against a wall for like hours. What in the heck is wrong with this thing? And I was even like in the learning stages where I was looking at somebody else's like and typing it out myself, and I was getting an error and could not figure out what it was. Thankfully, Magneto was like, hey, I think it's time to like walk away for a little bit and come back to it. And when I did, I found it was a punctuation error. Like it was something stupid, simple that I missed. But
probably
at the time,
indentation or something.
Right. Yeah. At the time, had I just been able to feed that section into AI and be like, I know there's an error. This is the error that I'm getting. What is it? Like that could have saved me hours and I could have been back to things. So, don't let it write your code for you. Just use it as a tool. So they're saying, it is regardless of whether you're using it or not, it is your responsibility as the code writer to make sure it's good code, that it's not writing all of your code for you. Now, where we're coming into some potential issues is the transparency part of things. And they are saying if you're using AI, you should say that you have used AI as part of however you used it for checking things, whatever. But there's parts of the community that says we should be using must. Like if you use AI tools, be transparent, you must document it. And the thing is, my kids have done things school related in robotics. And in all of those situations, AI isn't banned, but you are expected to cite your sources. My kid is in a class, so we homeschool, but he's got a couple different classes that go through basically like an online charter school. And one of those is called exploratory elective, and you have to write your own learning goals. That can be daunting. It can be a pain in the butt. So instead, one way we've done that would be like, okay, these are the things that plans to be learned over the course. This is when all of those units are due. And it helps produce a nice outline that makes sure that there's time to hit all of the learning goals, that you're spacing things out appropriately. Like, it can be really, really useful for things like that. But at the same time, it's not being taken as his own work. Like, he is saying, okay, I did use AI to help me generate these learning goals in this position. And I agree that you shouldn't be taking
I
on
struggle with
work.
this.
Yeah.
I struggle with this a little bit because
Okay.
I get what everybody's saying.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, this is like when the browser was released.
Okay.
And I know schools were thinking during that time, and getting on the internet and looking up the answers is cheating. But had kids not learned to use the web browser, if we had completely banned them from schools and other things, then, I think we would have a generation that's far more behind. Maybe a generation's better now that I think about it. Never mind. We should ban all web browsers.
Well,
in
I
any
mean, you
case,
could
I'm
look up your
saying
answer in an encyclopedia. I don't see how that's
Yeah.
different than looking up an answer like in the web browser. It's just
AI
two
is
different
just
ways to
kind of
look it up.
Exactly. You would go, before they'd be like, hey, in my day, I would go and use the Dewey Decimal System and, go into this little card file and pull a book, and then I'd have to read it. And then that's how you really learn. And then we're like, well, we got the internet now and we can just type it into a browser and I can get the answer there. So I think that's just smarter use of technology.
Yeah.
And now you have AI. And so should I have to now taking stuff directly from AI, pasting it and saying this is my own? That's a problem.
Right.
Utilizing
Agreed.
AI as a research tool, however, to enhance your stuff, I think is not a problem. I don't know that I need to sit there and tell everybody, hey, I used AI to go through my code and fix a indentation that I had in it error, or enhance an issue where my loop wasn't working correctly, or created a better variable system. I don't know. I think you are responsible. I like the idea that they're saying you are responsible for your code. If you take that AI code and you paste it in there and it's crap code and it creates problems, that's on you. And let me tell you, AI creates a lot of crap code, but it's getting better. I think there's, I'd love to know the community's thoughts, but I think there's some in between here where do I really need to mention, if I'm doing a college paper course, use it as a reference, but do I really need to mention in everything of my code that I used AI?
I get what you're saying, right? It kind of should depend almost on the amount that you're using. And if you're using it to be like, okay, I've wrote all this, I'm running into an error here, and kind of like I was with that example before, I'm beating my head against the wall. Oh, you could just, oh, yep, that's the error. It's still all my code. It didn't write anything. It just said, hey, you missed this dang parenthesis here or whatever, and now your code is good to go. It didn't write anything.
Using it as a grammar check.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, exactly. And so
that's another one. I don't put my references. Word grammar check this for me. It's kind of like I think
or Grammarly did. That's a big one that's used in schools and all kinds of things.
I mean, Grammarly is AI, and nobody puts it as a reference in there, and it definitely fixes people's papers and does the formatting. I think the problem is people take AI, and there's so much detection. Like my college has all kinds of detection that it goes through and actually gives you a score that we can detect X amount of your text is AI, generated or utilized. And so you have to get below like 8% of your paper because the generator is not perfect. You have to be below 8% to submit a paper of AI detectability.
Which that would be horrible if your voice your writing style really closely matches AI. You're kind of in major trouble because you're like, I wrote this here. Let me video myself writing this paper. It's all me, even though it says 85% AI, right?
Well, it may, to your point, Wendy, like AI is basically to a lot of people who've written us, it's basically just spitting back out what it's stolen from other people's voices.
Yeah.
Like it's scanned the internet, it's taken. So all of these people who've been out there writing all this stuff for all this time, like it's probably not too ridiculous to say that you're going to start sounding a lot more like AI. I think AI is going to create an interesting thing too, where sometimes I wonder if I rely on it too much. Like there's a lot of things where it's just so easy to be like, hey, we need a new idea for this. Let me just ask AI. Whereas we used to sit there and just spend some time, drawing some stuff out, thinking about it, going through. Now I have AI generating some
helping
ideas
you with
and things for me.
that kind of like you're on your
Think
own
tank.
for some of the creativity stuff
Yeah,
and working that muscle. Whereas like sometimes you don't need to be creative. I need another stupid username. Create me one. I don't want to think about it.
Yeah, that's true.
And something, Ryan, I always wanted to kind of tell you about now that we're talking about this is I can't imagine. See, when I was a college student, it was the Dewey Decimal System. It was microfiche, and I feel for you what you're having to deal with with having to be so careful that it's not AI. And it's just, and I know, with my students, the class, the part-time class I recently taught, they didn't have to write an essay for me, but in previous courses they did when AI was starting to become new, and I had a no AI policy, of course.
Right.
Yeah. No, I get that. Like a lot of the schools now will do, like I'm in a Python course right now. Of course I took it because I already know Python and knew it.
It's easy.
So
Easy
I already cheated a little bit.
Like the most sophisticated Python program out there.
That's the thing. Michael AI, just submit that and automatically pass the class. Real project out there, by the way, brilliantly coded. Michael's entire brain in one file of Python.
And it fits on a floppy disk.
Yeah, Michael's entire brain fits on a floppy disk, which that's just how good of a coder I am. That's out there. So you can check that out on my GitHub. But where was I going with that? It got me so excited. Oh, my Python class. So one of the things that they do in this class is you have to actually write a paper on your approach for the code. And so and so you have to break down each section of why you decided to put this in. Makes it a lot more difficult to cheat with AI when you're having to write papers like that where you're explaining your approach. Because if you just go into AI and say, hey, AI, explain the approach, the AI detection system is going to eat you alive in that because everybody's going to be submitting the same paper from one of the AI tools. So I like that approach where they kind of make you have to put your personality into your paper to prove that you actually know what you're talking about. Because otherwise, a lot of these projects, honestly, you could just stick in ads like, create a calculator, create this. I mean, there's so many. But also the web browser allowed you to cheat too. Because any of these projects of create a calculator or create something that does this, you could just go out on the web and look for code on GitHub that does the same thing. So, I don't know. Anyways, we're so far off topic. What's this console policy and what are we supposed to do with it? Am I mad, angry?
Well, so it's kind of like up to each individual person. And another thing that Fedora says inside of this is Fedora values your voice. So they want communication and they understand that there are language barriers. There's people all over the world working on Fedora. Right. So they're like, definitely you can be using AI for help with translations and that kind of stuff. But at the same time, they want your unique voice, right? They don't want the jumble of everybody else's voices that's been generated in AI. They do want your voice. And there's a limit to the AI and tools for reviewing. So I'm going to quote them again. As with creating code documentation and other contributors, reviewers may use AI tools to assist in providing feedback, but not to wholly automate the review process. Particularly, AI should not make the final determination on whether a contribution is accepted or not. So that to me is really, really important. Yeah, you can help it with some of your processes you're going through things. I can imagine larger projects like this, you have so many contributions and stuff coming in that having some way to kind of help you sort through those things is a positive, but it's not the final decision maker. That a person should be the final decision maker. And I like that. And as far as the kernel goes, they're already using some of that as far as reviews to help them process the contributions and stuff. But it's a real life human that is making the final say, yes, this is going in, or no, it's not going in. So I think those are key things to keep in mind as we're looking over this process. So they are adding some guardrails on where it can be, but the community isn't completely on board with all of that. And I don't think you're ever going to completely agree. We might get some community that say enough of them in it can agree on this one thing, but you're never going to make anybody happy. This show doesn't make everybody happy. I guarantee Linux Out Loud doesn't make everybody happy.
Well, that I agree with, but our show has made everybody happy always. We've never got hate mail, like ever. And especially it's never been directed at me.
Michael, I need you to send me a list of hate mail that was directed at Ryan.
Ryan's okay, I guess.
It'll be more gigabytes than the Ubuntu ISO file. I can promise you that. No, this is one of those things where like what I appreciate is the notion of opening up the community. We get a lot of feedback where I've said, hey, anything that's AI integrated into an OS, it needs to be in.
Yeah.
And so that, not opt out. So you need to have the default as opt out. Let me put it that way, opt out by default. And so you have to manually say, I want AI to be installed in this thing. Whether AI is going to be in our OSs as an option during installation or as an option as a software package, I think delaying it personally, and I know people don't want AI in their operating system at all, but I think there's no future where it's not there. Like you're going to have it, the AI option by default as a part of the installation. But I love when people say, I want to be able to basically, I want to have the choice when I'm doing an installer, like where do I install it on my hard drive? What is my username? Do you want AI? And then that should be the option that people have, because some people don't want this technology near them. And privacy and security people especially, I understand why, but I think, and you should have that right. So ultimately, I like that they're bringing this out. I think AI is inevitable to be a part of OS, at least in some form, at least having the option to install it and as part of the desktop as an option to utilize as part of your desktop. But I like that they're opening it up, getting everybody's opinions, and I like the AI features must be opt-in in big, bold words in their policy as part of their commitment to privacy and security. So I think they're thinking about it the right way. And the part that I think gets scary is, when they talk about the Fedora project community use training AI models based on data that's out there. So the scraping of data can cause an incredible amount of privacy and security concerns and things like that for when we're enhancing AI. And I think that probably where a lot of the discussion needs to lie, and to how do you do that responsibly? Because I think it's pretty obvious the responsible thing with AI is opt in. You have to opt in to utilize it for an installation. But where do we draw the lines for what's training the AI? If Fedora if you decide to opt in, should Fedora have full access to everything you write, even if it's anonymized into AI to train its models? And therefore Red Hat, and therefore IBM.
Yes.
Should it have that ability?
Because you're definitely touching on one thing that I do want to make explicit. It's not just about whether or not AI can be used for contributions to Fedora. There are talks about whether that becomes integrated into Fedora, the OS itself. And so, yes, opt in. Where does that training come from? And we can look at, Apple. Apple's had a very limited scope in training Siri. And it's not very useful. So you kind of have this give and take of like, how can we make it so it actually is a benefit and at the same time doesn't encroach on privacy? It's another one of those give and take. And is everyone going to agree? No. But I think it is good to go ahead and where are we establishing those boundaries, and how can we make sure that those in the community are adhering to those boundaries that we set?
So I think it's really healthy to have AI. In fact, AI is something that you can yell and that you can scream at and doesn't have any feelings. And my 8 therapists say that is really good for me to be yelling and screaming at AI instead of other people. So that's one of my votes for why AI is fantastic and why you need to keep it. So there we go. That's my contribution to the Fedora console policy proposal. There is keep it around the scream at, because it doesn't have feelings yet.
Yet. Keyword is yet.
Yet.
All right, Jill, what is our software pick, tip, and trick?
Okay, so today we're spotlighting Lenspect. Lenspect, Lenspect.
Thank you, Professor.
Yes, is a lightweight security threat scanner intended to make malware detection more accessible and efficient. It's available as a flat pack and is licensed under the GNU public license. The tool is powered by virustotal.com, which is an awesome site where you can upload files to detect if they contain malware.
I tested this, Jill.
Cool.
I downloaded malware. I uploaded it to VirusTotal. The malware that I downloaded, there's a specific site that you can go to. Maybe we'll cover it in a future spotlight. But this site allows you to download malware that's basically benign. It doesn't actually do anything. It acts like malware, but doesn't actually execute anything to open ports or stuff that would actually break your machine. So it's
testing.
actually a great way. Yes, fantastic for testing without having, infecting your system with malware. And this is really cool because a lot of people download zips or other things as part of,
.exes.
Exactly. Now you could take that and you could have VirusTotal take a look at it, make sure that it's legit. I mean, it's not 100%. Don't ever trust anything 100%, but it's just a cool little thing to utilize there.
Yeah, this is awesome. We should run an old Nero burning ROM image through it.
or the what is it, the disco chicken that dances different colors across your screen. Make malware fun again, people. Malware used to be creative.
Remember the sheep that would populate on your desktop so much you get hundreds of them that it would bring the system down? Oh, that was cool.
I mean, this was when hackers were clever. Now they're all like,
it was fun.
Crypto.
You want to know how I keep people off my network?
Yay.
I named my SSID Free Virus Download.
Free virus download. That's awesome. I love it. That's pretty smart. That and you live in a volcano. So
right, there you go.
There we go. So VirusTotal is incredible. It's an incredibly cool tool, and it actually describes itself like this. Analyze suspicious files, domains, IPs, and URLs to detect malware and other breaches, automatically sharing them with the security community. Lenspect actually is worth checking out and uses VirusTotal on the back end and is great for scanning all those pesky windows.exe files as well. It's a really easy to use compact GUI, and it's available on Flatpak. And if you collect malware like Pokemon, give it a try and see if it detects the malware.
Thankfully, my in-laws don't anymore because they're on Linux, but...
we all have a relative that collects malware like Pokemon, The browser goes crazy when you open it. This is really, really cool project here. And I like the idea. I was just thinking of, imagine that the new Windows update, the thing we were talking about earlier, the big surprise is that Windows basically creates a citizen score for you. And when you download things like Lenspect or other projects to kind of detect, Windows spying on you or malware, everything, your citizen score goes down. Windows sends that to the government, and then that determines what you get for credit and money and all kinds of cool stuff. Maybe that's the new update that Windows is coming up with.
So Ryan needs to go adjust his tinfoil hat. And
you think I'm kidding, Wendy, but it's coming. Well, not to you because you live in a volcano. But for the rest of us, the Microsoft sponsored citizen score is probably in our future, very near future.
Yeah, Wendy has a really good tinfoil hat, though, because that volcano is full of magnetism.
That it is. That's why I can't tell which direction I'm going.
Professor Jill again.
Maybe that's where Ryan lives too, because as I understand, you can't tell which direction.
My brain is demagnetized, so I have no idea. It must be where I'm at any point.
Birds know how to fly south. They've got that internal compass, and Ryan's was just defective.
Mine
at
just
birth.
spins in circles, and just I have no idea where I'm at any point. And GPS is my best friend. So
bless your wife.
Yes. Thank God she,
Yeah.
she's the better driver too. She's got that kind of country girl redneck thing. So like if we have big trucks or U-Hauls, people will like give me the
Let her
keys. I'm like,
drive.
no. I hand them right to my wife. She'll back a U-Haul up downhill in between, two little cars without even thinking twice about it. Whereas me, I would be like crash, 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 crash. So, like there's just certain things she does better, and she's definitely our navigator. Well, now that you've learned a little bit about that, a big thank you to each and every one of you for supporting us by watching or listening to Destination Linux. However you do it, we love your faces, and you can come join us on our Discord. There's drama going on with Discord. Maybe we need to cover that in our next episode too. Go to tuxdigital.com/Discord. Next week, by the way, we're going to have Brandon from the Pseudo Show joining us. So you want to check
Yeah, Ryan's firing me.
I'm not firing you. You're welcome back. Right after that, we cannot fire you because you're sinister.
I'm still editing it, right? I'm not
throw
officially
lava at
fired.
Yeah, we still need you to edit for sure. And so come join us on our Discord by going to tuxdigital.com/Discord and check out the whole community there. Amazing community, amazing support. Love you all. Thank you so much for all that you guys do to make it such a cool community.
Yes, most definitely. And there's a special spot on that Discord for those who are members. You can go to tuxdigital.com/membership if you would like to hang out in the Discord room while this show is happening live. I guarantee you it's an absolute hoot. But if you can't make it, members also get extended versions of the show. So yeah, there was a few interesting things that'll be cut out of this one that aren't in the one that's up on all the other places. So if you'd like to see those, then you'll definitely want to become a member. You can also support the show by going to tuxdigital.com/store. There is some awesome t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, all kinds of stuff, even a Sinister Wendy t-shirt. So if you want to be a part of the hashtag Team Wendy gang, head over there.
Make sure to check out all of the cool shows here on Tux Digital. That's right, we have an entire network of shows to fill your whole week with geeky goodness. Head to tuxdigital.com to keep those Linux penguins marching, and make sure to watch the last awesome show of Linux Out Loud, where Wendy, Bill, and Cubicle Nate had a really great discussion.
Yeah, we covered some
about many things, including networking.
Yes. The topic that I didn't cover here on the last episode of DL went to Linux Out Loud.
I noticed that, by the way.
Did you know?
When I was doing show notes, I noticed that you took the topic we couldn't get to the last time and you moved it over to your other show.
I did.
And so I feel like you stole from our show, because you wrote it here first. And
to be fair, that last episode of Destination Linux was almost 2 hours long, so I didn't steal anything from this show.
That's true.
No.
Yeah. You definitely want the unedited version of this show. Wendy makes a ton of mistakes and her machine crashes in the middle of the show, and it's been a complete mess. But somehow we were able to get through it, despite Wendy's many mistakes that happened there.
So Ryan doesn't ever take credit for his failures.
What am I supposed to do if Michael's not here? I have to blame somebody, and that's you, Wendy. You get to default as the Michael there. Well, everybody, have a great week, and remember that the journey itself is just as important as the destination. And by the way, we did the Wednesday theme. The Wednesday show is dope. Has anybody watched the recent season?
Oh, it's so wonderful. Good. Yes.
Yes. I love it. Like, I'm like, I watch it because my daughter likes it, but I'm really like, come on, next episode. It's
really good.
We watch it at our house too. I quite enjoy it myself. There's several shows. That one, have they been releasing it on a cadence? I think we're a little late to the game when it came out this time, but there's certain TV shows that come out, and even though Magneto and I know that we have to get up and get moving in the morning, we still will binge them, and that's one of the ones that we'll binge when the season drops.
Yeah,
it's a good when it's binge worthy when you start like, all right, I know it's midnight and I need to go to bed, but just one more. We'll just watch part of the next one. That's the good one.
It never works that way. It never works.
You have to go through the whole thing because they're always leaving you on the edge. You got that good down. All right, everybody. See you next week.
Laters.
Boy.